Springboks All Blacks, folks. The Freedom Cup and in all likelihood the Rugby Championship heading to South Africa after the Boks see off the All Blacks challenge 18 points to 12. As an All Blacks fan, I feel like we had our chances, but once again, not the composure. Whereas the Springboks kind of come into that second half strong and take the game by the scruff of the neck, the All Blacks kind of falter under the pressure. And deserved win for the Boks. I mean, certainly not perfect for the Boks. The line out will be frustrating them. Still not that clean. The breakdown was under a bit of pressure. They conceded a lot more penalties this week. Handling at time was pretty frustrating, but to keep the All Blacks tryless, to absolutely outscore them in the second half, to go 2 tries up and not concede any, man, there's still lots of positives to take, despite the fact they didn't play their best rugby. And the All Blacks, I mean, Cody Taylor, outstanding. Some goal-kicking missed penalties, particularly frustrating. Breakdown work good, line-up disruption good, high balls struggle. But, it is another week where the All Blacks in the second half in particular just get outmatched. We'll go through some key events and some stats. You guys can let us know your thoughts. 3 o'clock in the morning kickoff for those of us in New Zealand was pretty hairy, but the crowd was good. The atmosphere was good. The weather was good. The haka was going. There was not quite the drama at the kind of haka and anthems time as there was last week. There was actually kind of a slower start as they had to wait for a while to kind of get the game kicked off after the haka. But hey, we got kick-off and the Boks got pinged early. Grant Williams pinged for not using it at the breakdown. Matt Carley, who was busy on the whistle for both sides. And by the way, boy, do I hate that intercept rule. The deliberate knock-on rule sucks. It really, really sucks. But, not using it quick enough at the breakdown was Grant Williams. A chance for the All Blacks, not really converted. The first couple of scrums for the ABs, to be fair, were under a bit of pressure. I feel like the scrums got parity for the most part. The Boks edged a couple of scrums where they were able to win penalties, but for the most part, it was pretty even. But as good as their scrum was, the Boks early on, man, their line-out was scrappy. Honestly, it's if you think back to that 2019 Rugby World Cup campaign where South Africa, I think the whole tournament lost like 2 line-outs. I know they've got a big locking crisis in terms of, so many guys are injured, but the lineouts have not looked that flash. It's been unusual to see the Boks just as kind of I don't want to say rusty, but, just as clunky as they kind of have been. All Blacks scrappy under the high balls. Like I mentioned, D-Mac dropped a couple. There was one that wasn't a high ball, but it was just a wide kick to Talia, which he fumbled into touch. To the All Blacks struggling with the Boks kicking game early, but they did manage to go through the first kind of double-digit phase count, the ABs. They went 10 phases into South Africa's 22. From memory, that was from a lost South African lineout as well. But Visa was able to get a nice turnover for the Boks. And if you had the New Zealand commentary on, they called him Kobus Visa twice, which was amusing because there's a bit of an age gap between Kobus Visa and Jasper Visa. But there you go. Visa, whichever one it was, Jasper in this case, managed to win themselves a turnover to get themselves out of dodge. Boks were able to apply pressure in return. Will Jordan was able to pluck a Will Jordan was able to pluck a Vili LaRue cross kick out of the air, which potentially prevented Moody from getting into some space because it was looking dangerous for the Boks. That sent the All Blacks on attack. Cody Taylor, I mentioned he was immense. Got a big carry up the guts. And then Visa, who I mentioned, it's Jasper again, not Kobus. He gets himself yellow carded for an early tackle on Cortez Ratima. So the ref, being pretty strict, which is what you expect from Matt Carley. He is not a guy who lets a lot go. So with the yellow card, the All Blacks off for 3 points. But then virtually immediately, we go 14 on 14 because Sevu Reece collides with Vili LaRue in the air. It's an unnecessary one. You've got to take care of the guy jumping for a kick. And, Reece gets himself yellow carded. So 14 on 14, potentially for the All Blacks. That's a soft one. It's, I don't know. It's a frustrating one. So All Blacks don't get anything from that kind of yellow card period apart from the 3 points they initially got. But it was interesting to see South Africa, when they got their chance, they didn't want to go for three-pointers. The South Africans clearly wanted to go for tries. And it's almost kind of a role reversal from what I'm used to, how many years ago? 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Boks always opt for threes. Even just not even that long ago. Boks always opt for threes. All Blacks are the side that opts for tries and often gets criticised for not taking their chances when they got them. Boks opt for touch. Scotty Barrett's able to win a penalty at the breakdown, which is kind of stifling for the Bok attack. But then Cody Taylor, who's been the best player for the ABs thus far, has to go off for an HIA, which he does pass and comes back on. But Aumua has to come on, and immediately the All Blacks line out kind of falters. So, yeah, neither side up until this point has been really able to take the game by the scruff of the neck. There's been momentum swings both ways. But then, like during the 14-on-14 period, you feel like the pressure was pretty much all South Africa. New Zealand conceded a penalty for taking out the 9. Second chance for South Africa to go for the jugular, but then Sam Cane's able to win a penalty. So for all these chances, no real kind of chances taken for the Boks. They have had the pressure, but nothing to show for it. Willie LaRue passes into touch as things get a little bit scrappy. New Zealand forward pass from a wraparound move. There's a really slow scrum set. So the kind of 14-on-14 period comes to a kind of meandering conclusion. And then 28 minutes, New Zealand extend the lead when they opt for another 3. South Africa penalised for not rolling at the breakdown. And 6 points to 0 from an All Blacks point of view. Feeling pretty decent that we've actually got the points on the board from the chances that we've had. Camera pans to Stephen Kitsoff, who's watching the game, and some bird lady, girl who's chatting to him, is very enthusiastic. And I feel like Kitsy just wanted to watch the game. But hey, we've all been in that position in the crowd when someone next to you just keeps to chatting. But what a good day to be at the rugby. I was envious. 6 points to 0. 31 minutes. Interesting to see South Africa actually change tack. 6 points to 0 down. They got another penalty, and this time didn't want to go for touch. It was Savia pinged at the breakdown, and Pollard's able to slot the 3. So, yeah, quite happy to go for the jugular, but as the scoreboard just took that extra tick away from them, just bring it right back. And then, yeah, you felt like both sides kind of stepped into the game from there. Like New Zealand's scrum was looking a lot more comfortable. The South African hands were starting to look a bit more comfortable because they had dropped a lot of ball. And the All Blacks hands actually, under the line speed pressure from the Boks, at times was looking pretty comfortable. Now, they were able to get around, but often they weren't able to get that far forward. So I'm kind of a little bit torn as to how effective it was. It was still looking more comfortable than we've seen the All Blacks teams under line speed pressure in the past, at least, kind of put it that way. Right before halftime, the All Blacks were able to get themselves one more penalty, which sees a 9 points to 3 halftime lead, which as an All Blacks fan, I am taking all day to the bank. That is pretty decent. Like, the stats have been pretty tight. Run meters is 233 to 183 to the Boks, but the All Blacks have actually had more carries. So the All Blacks, as I mentioned about us not getting that far forward, like they've been going a lot of sideways, but yeah, the Boks with their direct carrying have been able to get through more meters. Possession's 51-49, so not much in it. The Boks have just edged it, but turnovers conceded 10 to 8. Both sides are particularly guilty of dropping a bit of ball. I think the Boks just a touch more, and then the breakdown work. Turnovers won 6 to 2. It's a reversal of last week, and their missed tackles 26-7. Boks were not happy with those numbers, and also their line-out faltered a little bit. 7 from 9 All Blacks, 7 from 8, and then penalty count is 7-5. The Boks have conceded more penalties in this first half than they did in the entire game last week. Second half, Scotty Barrett wins a penalty on Damon Dillon at the breakdown, and the All Blacks make an interesting call. Easy for me to say this in hindsight, but the wrong call to go for a long shot at goal. Like, D-Mac has got a decently long boot on him, but we're not at altitude, and I don't feel like you necessarily need to take a massive shot at goal when you've just got the momentum to start the first half. You go put yourself down there into the field, I think. But no, they're up for 3, and that's one of 3 misses the All Blacks will have in the second half. South Africa go through 9 phases to build a bit of pressure. They bring on some subs. They bring on Malcolm Marx, who's pretty effective. They bring on Lukanyo They go for a maul. They get themselves an advantage. Looks like Ebenezabeth scored a try. Potentially one angle looks short. One angle looks try. Like one angle looks pretty clear try. But the other angle looks kind of not that clear. And when you're in that situation where the referees sent a decision up to the TMO on a no try call, evidence has to be more compelling than that. It's not compelling enough, so they go back for an advantage. Springboks end up scoring anyway. You go through a maul, which gets stopped. Sam Cane conceded a penalty. The Springboks go again. Cheslin Colby with the throw-in. Is there anything that guy doesn't do? Phases and Sio Khaleesi goes over. So even if the Ebenezabeth try gets chalked off, they get it a few minutes later. It's Springbok rugby, isn't it? They took that chance. They had that knock it on the door in the first half, unable to convert. They had the TMO, unable to convert. What chance is this? 4th, 5th, close to the New Zealand line. They finally get it done. They break down that barrier. 10 points to 9. Boks go into the lead. They will not relinquish that lead for the rest of the game. And then Sever Reece concedes a kind of soft offside penalty not long later. South Africa opt for 3. So it's 13-9. And I can feel the game kind of slowly slipping away. Now, New Zealand did have their best period of second half. On 58 minutes, they actually managed to get some momentum, which had been kind of lacking. South Africa pinged at the breakdown. New Zealand opt for 3 to make it 13-12, which is very much game on. And then the time when you think New Zealand are going to capitalise is the Willie le Roux yellow card. Like, he shuts down an All Blacks move where the All Blacks have got numbers, but he's pinged for a deliberate knock-on because he gets one hand to the ball while going for an intercept. Is that a deliberate knock-on? Hell no, that's not a deliberate knock-on. He's legit going for an intercept. If he catches it, he's away. Willie's kind of an elder chap compared to some of the other rugby players on the field, so whether he would have gone all the way for a try is doubtful, but he would have been away. But because he doesn't catch it, it's a deliberate knock-on. And I really don't like that law. I really don't like it. So he gets sent to the bin for just not being able to take an intercept. I don't like it. Even Matt Carley's initial reaction was his two-handed go for the intercept, isn't it? Because he felt, I think, gut feeling that he's not going for a deliberate knock-on. But because it's one hand instead of two, he gets carded. And that sucks. People say, you know, if you have this law any more lenient, you get guys slapping the ball down. There's a big difference between someone slapping the ball down and what Willie le Roux did. But hey, New Zealand got a chance, man. You only play to what the referee whistles. They go through 9 phases, lose the ball. Then they get a penalty conceded at the breakdown. Sasha Feinberg and Gomazulu's come on for Pollard. He has a chance to punish New Zealand despite the fact they're a man down. He misses a penalty. Which side is going to take the game by the scruff of the neck? Well, with still 3 minutes in that yellow card for New Zealand to attack with the extra man, they drop a line-out ball. Savia. And then Steenekamp conceding a penalty at the breakdown. D-Mac has got a very, very, very kickable shot at goal. And he misses it. It's all from a line-out steal as well. All Blacks are still disrupting the Bok line-out, but misses it. And that's a choke. That one is a choke. That one, you don't miss that penalty. Sasha's one that he missed earlier, he probably gets more often than not, but it was a longer range one. D-Mac's one, very kickable. And then when Hendrickson dinks it over a kick for an on-rushing Colby, Lomax puts a wee shoulder into him, gets himself yellow carded. That's when my heart's starting to sink, because the All Blacks have had their yellow card opportunity and taken nothing from it. What are the Boks going to be able to do? Well, the Boks are the number 1 side in the world. They're the world champions. And they do punish. They do punish. They go for the jugular. They go for touch again. Maul. It kind of inches its way sideways. TJ gets drawn in to defending the maul itself. Reece is just popping up. And then Malcolm Marx peels over. Goes over in the corner. 18 points to 12. With the misconversion, still leaves the door open just a touch for New Zealand. But it feels like they're, chasing the game, and it seems like a pretty unlikely prospect. I mean, the Boks could have had it secured when Colby had a drop goal attempt after a bunch of phases. TJ Perenara, for some reason, still yelling at the bloody ref. What an idiot. Like, he almost got pinged. Brace pinged him for the same thing last week, but Matt Carley was a little bit more lenient on him. He said, if you keep talking to me like that, basically you're going to get pinged. So what an idiot. You can't be talking like that as if you didn't learn your lesson last week. I know you're frustrated, but man, don't be dumb. But yeah, man, the All Blacks did have a chance to chase it, to do what All Blacks teams of old could do, to go length of the field, to score a converted try and to win it. But this All Blacks team gets a penalty, goes for touch, and then Peter-Steph du Toit just pinches that line-out ball. So, game over. Deserved victory for the Springboks, man. As I said, All Blacks had their chances, but 3 points in the second half compared to the Boks getting 2 tries. It's not going to get it done. Possession finishes 54-46 to the Boks. Turnovers conceded finishes 15 each, so the Boks a little bit tidier than the ABs in the second half, because remember the Boks had worse numbers in the first half. The Springboks have 6 clean breaks to 4, which is encouraging for them. Penalty count was high, 14-13. Yellow cards 2 apiece. Missed tackles 37 by the Boks, 20 by the ABs. So both sides will be a little bit unhappy with that, but almost 40 missed tackles for the Boks is particularly high. Missed shots, man. All Blacks missed 3 penalties. The Boks obviously missed 1 and a conversion, but yeah, man, if you're going to go for the strategy, if you don't need to score tries, you're going to kick your goals. You need to kick your goals. Run meters 493 to 322 from the same number of carries. 122 carries each of the Boks. Ball carrying, just more effective than the ABs. High ball kicking game, as I mentioned, for the Boks, causing all kinds of problems for the ABs. It's not the first time we've seen that happen. Although the line-out's still a bit shaky for the Boks. 13 from 16, All Blacks 10 from 12, with that final one being the killer. Individuals, Damon Delendi had 56 metres. Ron Nokia had 16 from 17 tackles. Cody Taylor had 71 metres, which is incredible for a hooker, but he plays pretty much the whole game. They didn't trust Umberwood to come on, which is also speaking to the lack of faith in the All Blacks bench. Satiti, I haven't mentioned him. The youngster looked really good. Beat 6 defenders. I think the vast majority in the first half. But yeah, Freedom Cup for the first time since 2010 in South African hands. And as I said, absolutely in the driver's seat for the Rugby Championship. I think there's still a mathematical chance that they don't win it, but she's pretty much all wrapped up in what has been a pretty good campaign thus far. 4 from 4 for the Springboks. I see some hope for the ABs, but they are not there just yet. You guys let us know your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. There'll be more rugby videos coming, more stats and whatnot. I am off to watch some more rugby. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.